Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesdays with Wendy, where we make small business ownership less stressful, one step at a time. Today, we're going to discuss some qualities of tax preparers that you need to look for when you're searching for someone to do your taxes. And before we get into that, my name is Wendy Kane. I'm the owner of Kane Accounting and Financial Coaching. I do bookkeeping and payroll for independent contractors and small businesses so that you can have peace at tax time and throughout the rest of the year. Okay, let's get right into it. There are three things that I want you to consider when you are searching for a tax preparer. Okay, the first one, do they have any experience with your industry? I'm talking to small business owners. Whatever your small business is, are they experienced preparing tax returns for those types of small businesses? Now, if you are the first kind of business that they've ever done, that doesn't mean they won't do a good job. But if you can find a tax preparer that knows your industry, knows your niche, you're going to have a lot better time of it. They're going to know the questions to ask. They will probably be able to do the return a little faster because they won't be learning as they go. And so that is a good thing to ask is, have you ever done a tax return like this before? And if they haven't, I would ask around. I would ask some of your colleagues, maybe some of your competitors, say, hey, who do you use for tax prep? Because a lot of them, what happens is one person in an industry finds a tax preparer and they tell their friends and they tell their other friends. So it's not uncommon for a tax preparer to have a lot of clients with similar businesses. So you can ask around and there's a good chance they'll be able to be like, oh yeah, you need to go see this guy over here. Or you need to see this girl. She can really help you with your taxes for this business. All right. The second quality you need to look for in a tax preparer, you need to look for their credentials. So last week, I listed the different types of tax preparers. You can go back and watch that video if you want. Here's the quick synopsis of what you need to know. There is no license or certificate that you have to prepare income tax returns. Anybody out there can set up shop and charge somebody money to prepare their tax return. Okay. So that's fine. We don't have to have a license, but you might want to look at that because if they don't have a license, you know, could they be great at what they're doing? They could. They could be awesome. They also might not. But, there are also some people with licenses that are kind of on my do not refer list for various reasons. So, you want to look at their credentials. You want to make sure they have some experience, and they're not totally new at doing this. Um, Again, you can watch last week's if you want to know exactly what kind of tax preparers are out there. So, look at their credentials, look how long they've been in business, look at who their clients are, what types of clients they take on. All right. The third thing I want you to look for is their personality. They have to be a good fit for you. And now, this doesn't have to mean that you want to go have a beer with them. Although, if you do, that's probably a good indicator that they would be a good fit for you. But you do need to be able to have a rapport with them. I mean, you're telling them your personal and business information. All this is information you don't normally share with other people. And so you need to be able to trust them with that information and trust that they're going to kind of understand where you're coming from. Um, I'll give an example. I have he's no longer practicing, but there was a tax preparer who was phenomenal with taxes and really good. He came highly qualified. And I referred one of my clients to him, and she used him 1 year, maybe 2. And finally, she called me, and she said, "Wendy, I guess he's doing our tax return just fine, but I just can't use him anymore." And I said, "Well, why not?" And she said, "Well, he's so political." And he was extremely political. I won't tell you which side he was on, but just know he was on a side for sure. Like there was no mistaking. He was on this side. And she was not. So every time she called him to ask a question about taxes, he would get off on a political tangent and just rant and rave and all this about all this political stuff that she didn't agree with. So she was frustrated every time she would try and talk to him because she didn't want to hear the political stuff, much less political opinions she didn't agree with. So that's when she said, he does our taxes just fine, but I just can't stand talking to the guy. So I told her, I get that. So, you have to find somebody that, like I said, you have a good rapport with, that you kind of gel with. Like I said, you don't have to be best buds. You don't have to, some introverted CPA accountant types probably aren't going to want to go have a beer with you. So, they don't have to be that kind of, relationship going on, but you do need to be able to feel comfortable expressing your personal and business finances to them and knowing that they are going to understand where you're coming from. Okay, so real quick, let's recap. One, they need to have experience with your small business type, your industry. Two, you need to look at their credentials, get some referrals, talk to other people, look at reviews on Google, Facebook, wherever like that. And three, their personality needs to be a good fit for you. You need to enjoy speaking with them and know that you can ask them questions and they will be able to answer them without saying things that you just don't want to hear. All right, that is it for this week. Remember, no one is born knowing how to do this, and it is not taught in school. If you are feeling lost and overwhelmed, you're not alone, and that's why I'm here to help. Go to my website and you can sign up for my newsletter for more tips like this. See y'all next week.